What's up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. Look, some of y'all ain't gonna like this, but it needs to be said because it's a real situation. Um, Learning to control your children in public. And the reason why this topic is brought up is simply because we've seen it all too often, too many times, all throughout life. And unfortunately, some of us are guilty of not controlling your children in public. We all been in the grocery store and we've seen a parent with their child, and the child seems to be in more control than the parent. The child is dominating the parent. He's throwing temper tantrums, running all over the place, uncontrollably, recklessly running throughout the store. And the parent either is allowing it to happen or they simply or they don't have any power to stop it. They're just literally begging the child to please stop. And there have been other situations where we've seen people who have brought their children to other people's homes. They brought their children to other people's homes, and their children just going buck wild all in other people's house. And the first thing that comes to your mind when somebody brings their children to your house and the children start to get a little, riled up in the wrong way, the first thing you do, if it's your house, you kind of look over at the parent. Like, okay, this is your cue. This is where you come in and get your child in check. But unfortunately, sometimes we see situations where the parent just kind of sits there and lets it happen as if it's no big deal. And then you reach that point where you get in that delicate ground where if you are the type of person who puts your own children in check and keeps your own children under control and disciplined and well behaved, then you take it upon yourself to tell another person's child, hey, don't do that. Hey, sit down. Hey, don't do that. In which case, there are instances where the parent of that child, or that wild child, will actually have the audacity to be upset with you. Hey man, don't talk to my son like that. Don't talk to my daughter like that. Watch how you talk to my. And that is a way to say it to a child, but also I shouldn't have to say it. That's the key point, because the old school parents, and y'all know this, and you don't have to be old school to be an old school parent. You ain't got to be old or older to be an old school parent. You just got to be rooted in that kind of upbringing. The old school parents let it be known out the gate when they talk to their children how you better act and what you better not do. Soon as we walk in the store, it's understood. It's laid out in simple terms. The terms are laid out, and the consequences follow the terms. And you understand what I better not do and what I can do. And it's understood and established because it had been established already in the house from day one. But when you don't establish that with your children, they have no sense of boundary, and they just act buck wild everywhere they go. They don't care about this person's property, this person's couch, that person's TV, that person's floor that they scraping up, the wall that they writing on. They don't care about none of that because they haven't been thoroughly taught and trained to be that way and respectful to other people. Some children even talk back to people, to grown folks. See? So that's the parents' fault. Got to check that early. And even if it's certain behaviors that you might allow in your house, hey, that's on you. But you better make it be known that when we go out to somewhere else, when in public settings, that's not how you behave, buddy. I come from the days where other adults could check other children in the neighborhood, all that. You know, we always hear about that. The generation before me came from the days where other people could actually whoop neighborhood children. We not in that world no more. That's gone, you know. And then you got to be careful with that because there's some crazy dudes and females out here that are weird with the children. So, but there was a time where it was actually righteously done. Let me say that, you know, where the next door neighbor could put it on you if you were acting a fool. So to the parents who don't seem to have that control and that hold over their children, it's time to do the best you can to get it because it might be too late. And when you let it go too long, that's the moral of this whole story. When you get it to where your children are so uncontrollable, sooner or later, they're going to learn the hard way because somebody's not going to accept that behavior. And whether they check them in a righteous way, which is cool, but sometimes the dangerous thing is somebody may really do something to your child and they have went overboard in the way they handled it. So you got to teach your children how to act. Don't let your children be all in public going buck wild and crazy and coming to people's house tearing up their stuff. Teach your children how to behave when they're not around you. And that's the testament of a parent. You know what kind of parenting is going on based on how children act when their parents are not around. That's how you know. Because all that's in their mind is what mama or daddy gonna do if I get out of pocket. So keep that in mind moving forward, man. I've seen it too many times. I've seen parents just sit back and just let it happen. And it can break up friendships, man. It can cause problems in the family and all that because, you know, somebody gonna say, hey, man, get your son, man. Oh, he all right. No, he ain't all right. Let him go home and tab your stuff. And once he gets out in the world, he or she, they're gonna act the same way, just as an older version. And we know the streets and the streets gonna be ruthless. Law enforcement's gonna be ruthless. So train them early. Establish yourself from birth and give your child a chance. It's your big brother K-Rino. I hope this helps somebody out. All right, man. Peace.